My father was a very outgoing, very type A personality, just bigger than life, very strong-willed, very strong opinion, never met a stranger. And one day I had been kind of running the company for about 6 months, and he had bought a house out at Beaver Lake, and he had been remodeling it for several months. And even though I'd kind of been running the company and taken over, I still wanted to bounce things off of him, still talk to him about the press and the business, and there were some contracts I wanted to talk to him about. And plus, he had been working on this house, and I had seen the outside of it when he'd made an offer on it, but I'd never been inside it. And so I called him that night and I said, "Hey, Dad, Maribby and I and the kids will come out, and I want to talk to you about a little bit of business, and I want to see the house and see what you're doing." And so we drove out to the lake that night, and he showed me his vision and his dreams for this property, and it was right on the water. He loved to fish. His best friend Chuck was going to move to the area in a year or two, and he was going to spend the rest of his life fishing. And they were remodeling the house, and they'd already painted and done some carpeting, and he was a big landscape guy, and he just showed me everything that he was going to do with this property, and he was so excited and so happy, and he'd had a blast working on this, remodeling this house and stuff. And so we talked a little bit of business that night. I bounced a couple of things off of him. He said, "Yeah, hey, that looks great," and we brought some pizzas out, and we just had this wonderful night of fellowship, just really wonderful, and I was so happy for him and everything. And so the next day, the next morning, I was at the farm working on running a water line, and Maribby came and got me and said, "Hey, there's something going on up at your parents' house." And I got up there, and there was an ambulance, and I went in the house, and everybody was upstairs, and I ran upstairs, and my father had died in his sleep that night. And as I think back on that, what a wonderful gift that the Lord had given me. That the last night that my earthly father was going to be on this physical planet, I had spent this most wonderful, wonderful evening with him. And it was just such a time of joy and celebration, and he was so excited. And as I think back, there was obviously some evenings over our years that weren't so good, not every conversation always ends on a pleasant note. And that was just a wonderful gift that my Heavenly Father bestowed upon me, to spend such a wonderful evening with my earthly father, and not knowing that the next morning he would be dead when we all woke up. And so, I'm so grateful for that time. I'm so grateful for the earthly father that I had, and I'm so grateful that my Heavenly Father blessed me in such a way that evening.